Now, the rest of the story.
I just wanted you guys to see what the progressive growth has done on this short-term reclaim piece on the lower bottom. I'm really not sure what to call this at this point. We had 2 inches, over 2.5 inches here in the last, well, when we start last Wednesday, and then with the rains that they were calling for, and then we had a bunch of rain that we weren't even expecting. It just showed up. This whole section was awfully soft when I came down here last Saturday, and today is Monday, so it's actually dried up a fair amount. Once again, goes right back to what I said in just regards to the fact that all that long tall grass and material was taken off and exposed to the ground. I came down here at the 76, and you can see my tracks. This was last Saturday, and that's how soft it was. I mean, I guess not just slop soft. I didn't get stuck. I mean, it's not like I was cutting in, and I really just wanted to see what this was doing, because that taller stocky stuff, which is still kind of coming in there, which is no big deal, but on the rest of it, from what I've read up on it, it's not really going to come back after you take it off the first time, and all this green growth that you guys are seeing come in is the Reed Canary, and I'm happy to see that. I'm hoping it'll kind of push out some of that taller stuff, and there's plenty of moisture down here, hands down. Like, no, there is no concern about it being dry, even though they are calling for the 10-day forecast. There is no rain in the forecast. They took out the chance for next week, Thursday of next week, and that's currently out, which is far enough out that you really can't put a whole lot of stock into it. But speaking of stocks, this stuff, see how much that's actually broken down. This stuff was actually quite a bit of stock strength there when I first made it, but the disc bind did a really good job of cleaning it up. I've had people say that disc binds do not perform well in that stuff, and what I really want to see here, I've said it a million times, I'm going to keep saying it, deer, going through and just trying to keep after this and keep it cleaned up. I mean, I only got 18 bales off of it for what it was, but I'm going to make it 1st of August here, whatever's here, and I'm hoping that that'll actually help pick up even more of this old cruddy material. I'll take it home and put it in for the cows, or set it aside for cow feed, because I'm still in the accumulation part of the cow feed. But if I can get it made the next 2 times after 3rd cut in September, much like I did for the rest of the bottom, I wasn't happy about it because it was rough and it didn't smooth out like I would have liked, even though this had flooded. You think that with it flooding it would have actually smoothed out some of those ridges, but it did not. I was too wet, and this stuff, I didn't even get this stuff brush hogged until 1st of October. It was right before we actually started harvest last year. It was like the day before the combine started rolling. That's why I had to get down here and do it, and I just never touched it again, which I think a lot of this material here, a bunch of that is probably from even last September. I didn't run the roller bar rake down low enough to clean it up. That's why you see a lot more of this material. If I would have ran the wheel rake across it, that would have swept up all this extra material, and I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to do exactly that, and it'll clean it up all real nice and pretty. I'll do all my stuff, even if it looks like I'm only going to make the bottom right now. So the bottom and a couple areas up on the bench that are worth doing. I'm going to do my foliar tomorrow, but ultimately come down and at least rip this section this fall. Maybe not the rest of it. I got it last year, and my theory is from what I'm seeing on the stuff that I did last fall after I had made first crop and seeing how the grass came back after first cut, I think it's going to be worth, even if I make some ridging and stuff, to try to rip as much of this as I can. Maybe offset it like I did up on this field up here. That's that 7-acre field that really didn't do much either. I wanted to seed that down to alfalfa, but I don't think we had enough rain in the forecast. Well, we did this past week now, but I don't want to put a bunch of expensive alfalfa down then just have it not rain and not get the seeds to do anything, or worse yet, it germinates and then not have enough moisture to do anything. So this spot right here is actually had a lot more water in it too. The rest of this had a fair amount of water standing on it also, but I see that as either evaporated or soaked down in the ground. That is a deer den. I mean, it's soft enough I can't get around it, and I'm not really gonna push my luck, but go through and make a bunch of tight passes the whole length of this, clear down to where it ends. Ultimately what that does is that mole plow creates a tunnel in the ground, and it allows the moisture from up here or where it's standing right there, and it allows it to disperse through the rest of the piece and hopefully let the water kind of drain back into the parts of the field that have better drainage, that's doing a better job of handling excess moisture. So the landowners were just down here, they saw it, and they were actually surprised that we were able to get this done. I could have done it last year, and to be quite honest, just like last year, I had the window to get it made. If I wouldn't have come down and made it when I did and get the bales off like we did, because even leaving the bales to get rained on, they would have been waterlogged with, it wasn't like standing water, but it was soft to the point where the bales were dry enough they would have just, like sponges, just soaked up any water that they were getting. And the rain that we would have gotten, that 2.5 inches of rain with the material that was, over my head, there's no way this light breeze and heat and sunlight, which doesn't exist right now, wouldn't have dried this back out, and it would have been a lost cause potentially for the rest of the year. So jumping on it when I did was the smart move. Never did it last year just because I was apprehensive about it. I had other things going on, I just didn't get to it. And seeing that this year getting it got definitely played in my favor, and I'm hoping that I can go through and get the rest of this residue off when we pull the wheel rake over it. And it'll be primarily grass. I'll just set it aside just to feed for my cows. And I'm hoping it'll actually kind of rejuvenate some of this ground. I mean, I'm not completely naive with my head up my ass that it's not going to be a trouble spot where it's always going to have water standing. I get that. But it's trying to get the water to drain off quicker versus just being trapped and keeping the ground soft. I mean, exposing it like we are is definitely the right way to go. So gonna have a video on spraying my foliar with the 79 and my 300 gallon top air sprayer, but then after that I'm gonna forget it down here for a while, quite seriously, and more or less just come in and check, make sure there aren't any bugs down here eating it up. I'm not so much worried about armyworms at this point. Late season armyworms would be a lot of fun though. I mean, especially when not really expecting it. I was actually watching more for grasshoppers. We'll see. So until next time, I'll talk to you later.